Clobbering time.
Hello and welcome to M-Wire Movie Week in Review. This is the 16th episode. Today we're going to be discussing the Fantastic Four films in our Marvel Spotlight. I'm your host, TFG Mike, and joining me as usual is Steve Megatron. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, we just recorded Headshot, which it should already be up by the time this episode airs. A couple of programming notes for M-Wire. We're going to have to pre-record, I believe, to pre-record two episodes, episodes 18 and episode 20, to fit around the holiday schedule, and Steve's got some stuff going on. He's going to be doing some stuff in November, so he won't be around to record. I do need someone for episode 19, which is Can't Hardly Wait, so if anyone wants to come on and co-host with me, please let me know. You can find me on Twitter at TFG1Mike, or you can email me at tfg1podcast@gmail.com. So what's been going on with you, sir?
Not much. Got my domain back online. Now I gotta repopulate it with all my, latest up-to-date information, since, I hadn't actually updated that one in ages.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not really keen on the whole domain thing. I don't mind going through WordPress.com and just having a blog through them. That seems to work for me, but yeah, I don't want to have to deal with domains and all that crap.
Yeah, it's kind of complicated sometimes, like especially for the fact that it took me a while to figure out how to completely remove this, because me being a dumbass, I registered the domain under the previous host that I used to use.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, it sucked.
Yeah.
So, like, spreadaccountempire.com lagged and would actually go down for periods of time.
Yes.
Like up to a week.
Yes.
And I couldn't update, so I switched, and of course now I only use that other one to host the domain itself.
Right.
And so when I end up doing that anyway, they got my shit all fucked up, so.
Yeah, we're actually, after this episode, we will be 2 episodes away from finishing our Marvel Spotlight. It's been 8 episodes. It seems like it's been longer than 2 months that we've been talking about just Marvel films. And we haven't even really covered the full gambit of Marvel films. I know Blade was a Marvel film. I know Men in Black was a Marvel film. But I wanted to get, obviously, the
old tried and
the superhero stuff out of the way. So we will be right back with the Fantastic Four.
Exposure to a high-energy cosmic storm could advance our knowledge about planetary life
To our future. I don't trust him.
We got what we wanted.
Just worried about what he wants.
Biophysical structure is changing.
It's terrible news.
I think I'll get a second opinion.
The cloud has fundamentally altered our DNA. That's gross.
Reed, look at me.
I can't. He's heating up from his core.
You don't want to walk around on fire for the rest of your life, do you?
Is that a trick question? Come on, am I the only guy who thinks this is cool? What if we got these powers for a reason?
I've always wanted power.
Victor, you always thought you were a god.
Let's not fight.
No, let's. Don't even think about it.
Never do.
Oh, you're hot.
Why, thank you. So are you.
As we said before before you heard the trailer, folks, we're going to be talking about Fantastic Four and Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer. So, Fantastic Four is a 2005 superhero film based on the Marvel Comics comic Fantastic Four. It was directed by Tim Story and released by 20th Century Fox. This is the second live-action Fantastic Four movie to be filmed. The previous attempt, a B movie produced by Roger Corman, to retain the film rights, was never officially released. The film was released in the United States on July 8, 2005. It was the third superhero film of the year after Elektra and Batman Begins. Elektra. Jennifer Garner's hot, don't get me wrong, but that movie is horrible.
Yes, we don't go there.
Yes, we already actually went there with Mike, but I'm trying to think of a way to actually summarize this film, but I think we're just going to have to go through the plot points really quick. Dr. Reed Richards, a genius but timid bankrupt physicist, is convinced that evolution is triggered by clouds of cosmic energy in space, and has calculated that one of these clouds is soon going to pass near Earth. Together with his friend and the gruff yet gentle astronaut Ben Grimm, played by Michael Chiklis, Reed convinces his equally brilliant but conceited Massachusetts Institute of Technology classmate Dr. Victor Von Doom, played by Julian McMahon, who most people will know Julian from Nip Tuck on FX, now CEO of Von Doom Industries, to allow him access to his privately owned space station. Von Doom agrees in exchange for control over the experiment and a majority of the profits from whatever benefits it brings. He brings aboard his chief genetics researcher and Reed's ex-girlfriend, Susan Storm, played by Jessica Alba, and her hothead brother, Johnny Storm, played by Chris Evans, his private astronaut who was Ben's subordinate at NASA but his superior on the mission. Much to Ben's disgust, the quintet travels to space to observe the cosmic energy clouds, but Reed has miscalculated and the clouds materialize well ahead of schedule. What did you think of the beginning of this film?
Well, the introduction of the characters, I thought that they all pretty much looked the part that they were playing.
Right.
Or at least they played it off very well to where they, you could tell there was a lot of issues between the various characters in a past history that it alluded to.
Yeah.
But yeah, they seem to work very well together. I liked the whole how they started slowly introducing everybody and showing where they're at now and
right.
who works for who and whose dirt broke. And I like the dynamic though between Johnny Storm and Ben Grimm, though.
Yeah.
Like you said, the one being the subordinate at one place and the one being the one over the other. So.
Yeah. The Johnny Storm, Ben Grimm, Human Torch, the Thing dynamic. They're basically the comedy of the Fantastic Four. It's just so funny. Victor refuses Reed's plea to abort the mission, knowing he must produce results to justify his expenditure, no matter the human cost involved. Knowing Ben is spacewalking to set up equipment, Reed, Susan, and Johnny leave the shielded inner area of the station to rescue him. And Victor closes the shield behind them. Whilst Victor is seemingly safe, the others are exposed to the cloud. Ben receives full exposure out in space, while the others receive more limited dose within the station. The astronauts make it home intact, however. Before long, they begin to mutate, developing strange powers. Reed is able to stretch like rubber, Susan can become invisible by bending light around objects and create force fields, especially when angered. Johnny can engulf himself in fire up to supernova-like temperatures and is able to fly. Ben is transformed into the Thing, a large rock-like creature with superhuman strength. Now, I really have no prior knowledge to, I know the gist of these characters because I did watch the Fantastic Four cartoon, but I didn't watch it enough to where I got the basic overview of the relationships between each of them, but wasn't really that much of a fan back then, and I've not read any Fantastic Four comics.
Yeah, I would have to say that I wasn't that big of a fan of them before either. But I do like these movies more than I like the original show.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, there's much more of a...
kept my interest.
Go ahead.
I was going to say it actually kept my interest, and I liked the people that they picked for the portrayal of the characters.
Oh yeah, Michael Chiklis as Ben Grimm / the Thing, best casting ever.
Oh hell yeah!
Yeah.
And then the guy that played
Johnny Storm.
Well, not only him, but Jessica Alba seemed to fit the part pretty well, even though they dyed her hair. And then Ian Grufford for Reed Richards.
Yeah.
He pretty much fit the character as well.
So, after Ben, brooding about his situation on the Brooklyn Bridge, accidentally causes a major traffic pileup whilst attempting to stop a man from committing suicide. The four use their powers to prevent any loss of life to rescue a fire truck and its crew from falling off the bridge. The media dubs the team the Fantastic Four. Whilst Johnny eagerly embraces his powers and new life, Ben, the only one whose transformed appearance is permanent, suffers. His disfigurement has caused his fiancée Debbie, played by Laurie Holden, to abandon him and has seen him shunned and feared by much of New York. And it must be noted, I did not know this until I think last night I was looking it up online. Laurie Holden played Agent Olivia Murray in the final season of The Shield, so she had worked with, before that, late last year, or earlier last year, or might have, no, this year or last, I don't know, whenever The Shield ended, I think it was earlier this year, she had previously acted with him in this, which I thought was really, really cool.
Yeah, it's always cool to have somebody that is familiar with one of the actors or actresses that they've, from another show. Yeah.
Blaming himself, Reed vows to return Ben to his human form. Therefore, he, Susan, and Ben work on a cure, constructing a healing chamber in Reed's high-tech Baxter Building loft-turned-laboratory. During this time, Reed and Susan begin to rekindle their attraction to one another. Susan admits that she is not interested in Victor, but had turned away from Reed because he feared to make a binding vow, thinking only in terms of variables. His excessive caution was hard for Susan to deal with, and now it begins to test Ben's patience as he eagers to return to human form, while Reed is taking his time on the machine. Unknown to the others, however, Victor's body is also mutating. He is turning into organic metal capable of absorbing and manipulating electrical energy as a result of the disastrous experiment. His company is going bankrupt and he is losing public status. Blaming Reed for his misfortunes, Victor swears revenge. Now, I gotta say, the boardroom scene in this film, where they're like saying, yeah, Victor, you're out and we're selling, that is the exact same scene that was in Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah. I mean
almost word for word. They just changed the actors and the characters.
Yep.
You go back and you look at Spider-Man 1 with Norman Osborn and the Oscorp board. Then you look at this film with Von Doom and his board, and it's the same. It's the exact same scene. I actually didn't notice that until I watched it earlier.
Yeah, that is a pretty crazy thing to have a duplicate of.
Yeah, pretty much. After killing a bank chairman who had pulled out of the Von Doom Industries IPO, Victor sees the opportunity to finish off his rival once and for all. Manipulating Ben's insecurity and anguish, Victor tricks Ben into thinking that his teammates are not working on a cure with due diligence. After a vicious argument between himself and Reed, Ben storms out of the Baxter building. Reed experiments with the curative machine on himself and nearly dies in the process, but learns that the machine only needs more power to fully succeed. Victor, who has been spying on Reed, tricks Ben into entering the machine and provides the extra power. The only real exposure I have to Doom is really the Spider-Man cartoon when he was crossing over in that. And this is part of his character being this underhanded, manipulative businessman type. But I don't know. I just don't like the fact that they allowed him to get away with that. I mean, I know it furthers the plot, but I don't know. I just thought that was kind of weird.
Yeah.
So let's see where. They become normal again while Victor's own mutation increases exponentially, increasing his power, but also disfiguring him. When Ben realizes that Victor merely wanted the super strong thing out of the way so that no one could stop him, Victor immobilizes Reed discovers them, and Victor attacks him, taking him prisoner, and sarcastically asks what happens when rubber, while getting him frozen to prevent him from using his powers of dissension. When Susan and Johnny realize it's happened, Victor, now calling himself Doom, fires a heat-seeker missile at the Baxter building, intending to target and kill Johnny. Johnny, using his powers of heat and flight to lead the missile to open water, where he ignites a garbage scow to dispose of the missile. Now, I gotta say, Johnny, as we all know, I mean, I know this just from seeing him in the Spider-Man cartoon and seeing him in the Fantastic Four cartoon as well. Johnny's always been this irresponsible hothead, and I think that they play his character really well in this film, where he goes from the irresponsible hothead to, well, yeah, think, Johnny, think, what can I do to stop this heat-seeking missile that's going to be flying up my dick in about 2 minutes? And then he sees the garbage scow and he just shoots a burst of flame at it, and he actually flies into the flame with it and destroys the missile, destroying the garbage scow. But and then of course he comes back and does the right thing. So I think Johnny has the most character development in this one, and Reed does. Yeah, I think Johnny and Reed both do, because obviously Reed steps up and proposes and all that happy crap.
Shit.
Yeah, happy shit.
Yeah, they definitely had a lot of character development though in this movie.
Oh yeah.
A lot more than some of the other Marvel properties.
Elektra.
Yes. But yeah, so I mean, overall it was one of my favorites, obviously below Spider-Man and X-Men.
Yeah. So Johnny uses his powers of heat and flight to lead the missile. Water ignites the garbage scow to dispose of the missile. However, he is thrown into the water, and whether he remains alive or not is not shown. Meanwhile, Susan attempts to rescue Reed and confronts Doom. She soon proves no match for the powerful Doom, and he is on the verge of killing her when Ben, having activated Reed's machine and used it upon himself to restore his mutation, bursts into the room. Doom and Ben fight until the battle spills onto the street below. I'm going to have to put this in either as the intro after the movie projector, before our actual voice intro, or at the very end. I'm not sure. I'm probably going to put it at the intro, but I meant to grab the clip for when Ben crashes through that wall and he and Victor get into it. I meant to grab the clip of it's clobbering time. That was so... because I remember that from the cartoon. And I think Chiklis does an awesome job with that. He does an awesome job as the Thing in general. But just hearing that line come from him as the Thing, it was so awesome.
Yeah, it's definitely he was an awesome pick for the Thing.
Oh yeah. But no matter how hard Ben attacks him, he is unable to overpower Doom, and Doom knocks him flat on his back. He is about to deal a finishing strike when a recovered Reed and Susan arrive to save Ben. Doom begins to scorn them when he is blasted from behind with fire from none other than Johnny, who survived the encounter with the missile unharmed. Doom absorbs all the electricity in the area that he can to begin the final showdown. At first it seems that Doom has the advantage, and the team struggles under his onslaught of electric blasts. Reed manages to use his elastic body to temporarily restrain Doom, and then coordinates the team for an offensive attack, trusting his initial judgment for the first time. He starts by telling Johnny to unleash his supernova heat on Doom, despite the fact that even Johnny agreed that this was dangerous. Now, I gotta go back a little bit, because, as we say in almost every M-Wire, when reading from a wiki description of a plot synopsis, they kind of, leave crap out. In the scene before they, or right when they got back, when Johnny's flirting with the nurse and everything else and says, you want to go skiing or snowboarding with me at, 4 o'clock when you get off? And she's like, no, I got to work, and you're not supposed to leave and everything else. Well, it's funny, after that happened, and of course he ends up in like an icicle hot tub, and you know what happened then. I mean, she basically just dropped the poles and her knees kind of bend and whatever. But, as they were going through, after they got back to the Baxter building, going through and testing all their powers, as I said before, Johnny started off as a hothead, irresponsible, and got more responsible. And he's like, Reed's like, oh my God, you're, tone it down, you're going too fast. He's like, I can go harder. And Sue said, they finally douse Johnny with the fire extinguisher. Sue goes, Johnny, you were going at 4,000 Kelvin. That's like, almost as hot as the sun. He's like, cool. He's like, and Reed's like, no, not cool. Supernova is bad. So yeah, that.
Then he had to repeat it.
Yep.
He's like, supernova, bad.
Yep. So Johnny uses to surround Doom in a vortex of fire, while Reed gets Susan to try to curtain its dangerous amount of heat with a force field. She manages to do so while Doom makes futile attempts to break free with his electric blasts. When Johnny and Susan give out, it looks as if Doom is just starting to melt, but he is still on his feet and merely sneers, "Is that the best you can do? A little heat?" Reed responds, "Time for your lesson. Chem 101. What happens when you rapidly cool hot metal?" Ben then kicks the top off a fire hydrant, and he and Reed direct the water shooting out of it at Doom. The steam created as the water hits Doom forms a thick cloud, and when it settles, Doom is seemingly left as a statue of an inert metal. Ben informs Reed that he has accepted his condition with the help of Alicia Masters as a blind artist for whom he has developed feelings, and the team decide to embrace their roles as superheroes. To unite as officially as the Fantastic Four, Reed proposes marriage to Susan, who accepts. Doom's remains are being transported back to his homeland of Latveria when the ship carrying them experiences unusual electronic interference. Now that scene, the very end, I believe that is either right before the credits or during the credits. I'm not sure what they did, because I did watch the extended cut of this film. There are several scenes that have been added, more emotional scenes between Reed and Sue. There's a scene where it shows Doom's plot to basically separate the four of them, where he's doing the whole, manipulating Ben thing, but he also manipulates Johnny and says, "Hey kid, you can market yourself and do this," and that's where the little Thing toy came from, and all this and all that stuff. So, that's pretty cool. The extended cut really doesn't add anything to this film. It's not like the Daredevil director's cut. It's just adding in a few scenes that they had originally cut out of the theatrical version. And if you do get the extended cut DVD, it actually has both cuts. It has the U.S. theatrical version and the extended cut on it. Unlike the Daredevil DVD, where the Daredevil 2-disc DVD is the theatrical cut, and then the single-disc director's cut is separate. So I thought that was really, really cool. As far as the cast go, what did you... I mean, I know we've mentioned a little bit about the cast, but what did you think overall?
Honestly, I wouldn't change any of them.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that they're in talks right now to do another, or to reboot the series, but I don't think that's necessary.
Yeah.
I think that they should just stick with who they got, unless they're obviously demanding too much money.
Yeah.
Which hasn't stopped them before.
Yeah.
But just write some new shit. I mean, don't try and retcon it, but
yeah. Get a new director, get a new writer, and continue the story.
Just keep going.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. Oh, and Stan Lee alert, he was the mailman, Willie Lumpkin, which, I don't know, maybe comic book people can write into us and let us know at gcrnmwire@gmail.com and let us know who that is. I mean, I'm sure he's some sort of famous part of the Fantastic Four comics, but I don't know if he was always a mailman. And I actually asked on the Earth2.net forums if Alicia was always blind, because I could never remember if she was, and she has throughout her character's lifespan has always been blind, so I wasn't really sure of that. As in almost all of the previous Marvel Comics-based films, Fantastic Four co-creator Stan Lee makes a cameo appearance. He is Willie Lumpkin, the postal worker who greets the team on their way into the Baxter Building elevator. As far as the reception, the film scored a 26% negative rating at the critics' aggregated site Rotten Tomatoes and 40% at Metacritic. The movie was criticized for poor science and having less action than some people would have liked. I disagree with that, but whatever. At the box office, Fantastic Four reached number one with $56 million in its opening weekend. By September 2005, the film had grossed over $330 million worldwide, with a domestic gross of $154 million. There are, like I said, several deleted scenes. Two versions of a scene with Jessica Alba and Ian Grufford. The original features the pair in the planetarium where they communicate their feelings for another without an argumentative tone. This ends in a kiss. The second version, included in the DVD release as a bonus feature, that features two outside looking towards the Statue of Liberty. Similar lines are used, but it ends with Alba's Susan turning invisible before Grufford's Reed can kiss her. A joke was used during the line, "A stronger man," instead of Reed giving himself a square jaw as he does in the theatrical release, he makes his skin look like X-Men's Wolverine. And that's why you need the extended cut, because he makes himself look just like Hugh Jackman. And actor Grufford breaks the fourth wall and looks directly at the camera as he does this. As I said, the extended cut in June 2007, the extended cut of the film was released incorporating the 20 minutes of deleted scenes. Also includes a preview of Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer. Overall, I think this film did really well, both in action and story. I'm not sure what the reception part where the critics said that people wish that there was more action. I thought it had enough action in it